morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our Oracle Apex community, depending where you are. My name is Salim Hilayal. I'm a product manager for Oracle Apex, and I would like to welcome you all to a new session in our Business Innovations webcast series. In today's session, I would like to welcome Dr. Bertha Gebhardt from Siemens Mobility, who will show us how they used Oracle Apex and Autonomous Database to create a real-time visibility across all their projects. I would like also to remind you, if you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A section, and we will try our best to address them during the session. Now, I would love to hand it over to Ashish Mohindru, the Vice President, Product Management for Oracle Apex, to start the event. Over to you, Ashish.
Thanks, Salim, and welcome, Dr. Bertha, and welcome to everybody around the globe who's joining us today for our next new episode of Business Innovation Series with Apex. Before we hand it over to Dr. Bertha to talk about their use case at Siemens, I just wanted to share a few things about the status of Apex, where we are, and what's coming next in our product line. So with that, I would just say, as everybody knows, or especially if you're new, you may not know about Apex. Apex is the world's most popular enterprise low-code application platform. It enables you to build scalable and secure enterprise apps with world-class features 20x faster, with 100x less code. And Apex delivers the most productive way to develop and deploy mobile, web, and desktop applications everywhere, whether you want to build it on the cloud or on premises or on any kinds of public cloud, whether it's public cloud, whether it's AWS, Oracle, Azure, or so on, or even within your own private clouds that you may be creating inside your own data centers. Now, I saw this recently as a graphic. I don't want to take credit for it. I actually saw this on LinkedIn with one of our aces, I think, who built this. And it basically talks about the difference between using a low-code platform like Apex versus traditional high-code technologies if you were to build the same kind of enterprise applications. So if you look on the left, you can see there's a lot of different things you need from application servers to messaging queues to UI interface tools, to management tools, and so on and so forth. You got to piece all of that together in a high code fashion to not only build your applications, but also to manage that infrastructure and your applications in the long run. With Apex, all you need is one platform, which is low-code platform, which is Oracle Apex, and it takes care of everything else for you. You don't really need anything else to add on to the stack to build the kinds of applications you're looking to build, whether it's on the cloud or mobile or desktop. Now, that's the big reason why you see tremendous adoption of Apex in the market. Today, we have over 19 million plus apps created worldwide. There are 2 million live apps currently running on Apex. Every day, we see about 3,000 to 5,000 new apps being created on Apex around the world by our developer community, which is pretty large. We have about 700,000 plus Apex developers worldwide and growing at a very rapid pace. And what's also really interesting is traditionally, low-code has been thought about as a tool for building simple applications. Actually, we see very large enterprises. Actually, 75% of Fortune 500 companies today use Apex to build their enterprise scale applications. So very broad adoption of low code, and in particular Apex, around the major enterprises around the globe. And we're going to talk about that. And a key example of that is Siemens today. Another thing about Apex that people have a misconception of, I want to clarify today, is that you just need Apex only works with Oracle database, and as long as you have all your data in Oracle database, you can build applications on it and use it with Apex. That's not actually true. We actually connect to 100 plus systems around different kinds of systems. We provide 100 plus connectors through our integrated platform. And as you can see, you can have data in different kinds of relational databases, not only Oracle, it could be MySQL, SQL Server, Postgres, DB2, and so on. It could be any kind of cloud data warehouse, whether it's Snowflake. Actually, Siemens is going to talk about how they're integrating with Snowflake, any kinds of applications, whether it's Oracle apps, SAP, Salesforce, and so on, or any kind of DevOps or back office systems. As you can see, we provide a variety of these connectors, so you are able to build any kinds of applications that pull data from any data source into and out of the core Apex system. Now, if you attended Oracle Cloud World last week, it was a really exciting event. It's an annual conference, lots of excitement. I think we have massive number of crowd attendees, and there's a lot of talk about two things in particular. One was about AI, and the other was about Apex and low code. And Larry Ellison, who's the founder and CTO of the company, actually got on stage and in his keynote really talked extensively about how not only Oracle internally is transitioning from high code systems for building applications to low code with Apex, but also how we're merging AI and low code, in particular Apex, together to build a new productive kind of application development platform that not only assists you in building applications, but will eventually auto-generate applications in the next few releases. And as you can see, the value of the combined platform is tremendous. Today, if you're building with Apex, you need about 1/10 to 1/5 the size of developers you would need on a traditional application development team. And also, you can iterate really fast. So you can add in new features, you can change your requirements. And because it's model driven, it's really, really easy to kind of change on the fly and be able to accommodate your business requirements for your applications. Apex also runs on top of Oracle database and autonomous database in particular, so it's extremely secure. You actually does not generate security bugs. It doesn't have a bolt-on security, I would say, architecture. It's built-in security architecture, so it's highly secure. All your data is really well protected, encrypted, and you can define who gets access to what, and be rest assured in terms of breaches and so on. We actually have a very secure architecture that helps prevent from it. Not 100%, as no system can, but overall gives you the best kind of security you can have in the market. In terms of AI, with low code and Apex, we've done a lot of work over the last year to really provide you with a lot of choice and ability to ingest AI or to take advantage of AI as part of your overall low code development and deployment process. The very first thing we've done is we've really built a very unique autonomous infrastructure, which is all AI driven. So Apex is the only service in the market, or low code service in the market that runs on an autonomous infrastructure. So what that means is you don't have any human labor to kind of manage your system, to run your system. We use machine learning to auto run the entire infrastructure. So it does auto backups, auto patching, auto upgrades, auto scale. So all of these things, auto tuning. So all of this stuff that would require human labor in the past now is done. Everything is done by AI and machine learning to run your infrastructure to give you the highest quality of service compared to any other vendor in the market. The second thing we're doing is really we're coming out with a new capability called AI-assisted development. We talked about it at Cloud World. The whole idea behind that is how do you take intent or natural language and be able to auto-generate SQL for you in the back end. So that's your first iteration with that. So if you're not a SQL expert and you want to build applications with Apex, you can do that by simply typing up your intent in natural language, and we are using AI algorithms in the back end that auto-generates the SQL for you. Now you have the choice to either use that SQL, augment that SQL, or to completely ignore the SQL and do it all by yourself. But at least now you have a great assistant next to you that will actually enable you to do that. In addition to that, we will also be working towards the system to auto-generate application blueprints and eventually auto-generate the entire application for you. So that's the direction we headed in terms of AI-assisted development. And we'll talk a lot more about it in our future webcasts, and you'll hear a lot about that in the coming months from Oracle. And the last thing in terms of AI and low code that we're really working on is enabling you to build AI-powered apps. Today, right now, you have a lot of broad portfolio of AI services that's available in Oracle Cloud. Things like generative AI, we just announced that at Cloud World. AI speech, AI vision, data science, document understanding, Oracle Digital Assistant, and so on. Now, as part of as you develop low-code application with Apex, you have access to all these services to integrate that with your core low-code application to add in new capabilities. So you can create a new chatbot. You can do new kinds of searches, generative AI searches that responds to you in English or any other language you prefer to, just a human-like interface with that. So all of this capability, you can actually upload images, and it'll auto tag images, identify objects within images. You can have voice translation services. So anything you can think about in terms of what AI can do, today you have pretty broad portfolio of services in Oracle Cloud to build those kinds of applications and use that with seamless ease in conjunction with Apex. Now, all of this, these services, along with Apex, is available to you worldwide. So today we have about 45 plus global cloud regions. Actually, there are about 65 plus if you add in public cloud and also our dedicated region clouds around the world. So very broad reach and access points for you around the world to not only access Apex, but also a lot of majority of our AI services that I just talked about. Today, like I mentioned, we have thousands and thousands of customers worldwide that are using Apex. 75% of the Fortune 500 uses Apex today. And one of the customers that we really want to invite and have a privilege of getting on our webcast today is Siemens Mobility and with Dr. Bertha. So I would like you to welcome Dr. Bertha and to talk about her use case of how they're using low code at Siemens today. So welcome, Dr. Bertha.
Many thanks that I have the choice to present our Apex solutions here in this round. So I will share my screen first. So thanks for getting the time here. And I would like to introduce how we're using Apex in the project management inside Siemens, because Siemens is normally known as a technology company for the customer, but what do we do inside? And this I will present now here. So first, the disclaimer, of course. And the presentation is divided into 3 parts. First, I would like to introduce Siemens Mobility. The second part is giving an overview of how we are using Apex, more from the theoretical side or from the PowerPoint slides. And the main interesting thing is that I would like to see or give you an introduction how we are using Apex functionality and possibilities to connect to other environments too, inside from one project here. So about us, Siemens Mobility is a division of Siemens itself. Its global headquarters is in Munich in Germany. Siemens Mobility has 4 core business units. Means mobility management dedicated to rail technology and intelligent traffic system, rail electrification, of course, and the rolling stock. And last but not least, the customer service. So we are using the complete architecture of mobility. I would like, before I'm going on with introducing Siemens Mobility itself, I would like to present a small video of it.
From the very beginning, we feel the urge to move and discover the world. We walk, ride, drive, and travel. We're always on the move to learn, work, relax, keep fit, explore, and of course, to meet each other. When we can't, we confine our very nature. We depend on mobility for ourselves and for moving all those things we need and want in life. We've always been very ingenious when it comes to getting ahead faster, more safely, more reliably, and with greater comfort. Today, we need new solutions for new challenges. This is what drives us. This is why we're so passionate about mobility and always go that extra mile to move beyond what's possible today. We are pioneers in transportation, helping our customers keep the world in motion. As their trusted partner, we create ways to move people sustainably and seamlessly, from the first mile to the last. This is our vision. This is what we're moving toward and beyond.
So I hope this gives you a short introduction what we are doing. So and mainly in rail infrastructure, we are also divided into rail infrastructure, into road mobility, and also into mobility or in software application for the customer, where they can figure out how is the next train and book a ticket and so on and so on. So software and hardware, we have combined both. Now comes interesting things, how we put now Apex in our business, because you have seen that we are walking all over the world. So we are not only have an eye on one piece of the world like Europe or so on. So, and therefore we have customer and colleagues all over the world, which means 24/7 availability of applications. So, and of course, if you are coming from the project management side, now we are going a little bit deeper in it. Each project needs to have a schedule. We have hardware, we have software, we have documents, we have claim management, procurement, configuration management, everything else. So it means a whole bunch of management disciplines inside project. You can imagine how many information will be created in such a kind of project. And here comes this challenge. We are not working only with one system. We have several systems for each management discipline. So means how can we get an overview of all information in order to have a picture of a project at a glance. So if a project is healthy or not, and how we can encapsulate all the information, because if we are going in a hardware side, we have a traffic light on one side, and on the other side we have the design document or the software for it. So how we can combine it. And of course, my major point is to get rid of Excel files, because Excel files are very static. So you create one Excel file. That means you can close it, start the next morning, and you don't know if the information which you have created in Excel are up to date or if the source systems are changed. And the main issue is also because we have a lot of colleagues in the project, and that means every college has its own knowledge about the discipline. So the knowledge is hidden by the people itself. So then comes the question, how could the project manager handle all the flows of information for one project? And here we are using first the Oracle database and second put Apex on top of it in order to display the information to the users inside. He is also, Ashish had also a slide with all the connectivity, and here I'm setting it on because we have connectivity, of course, to Microsoft Azure, to Snowflake, SAP, Teamcenter is an internal Siemens application, to further Oracle database. So as I said previously, we have my main issue is to combine all the source systems into one in order to have the project information by one click. So there we have a lot of technology. If we have database links for several Oracle database, if we are using REST API in order to connect to the Azure one. The second challenge is, of course, inside the database itself, means connecting all the information from the document hardware, from the scheduling, from norms, regulation, warehouse information, installation, manufacturing. So we are making such a kind of information model inside the database of all the project information. And this is then the benefit if you are a user and you are asked, okay, I have a kind of X counter, and I would like to have every information of this X counter in the project, and I will get everything. So it means the design, means the norms, the documentation, installation guide, and so on and so on, and also the installation points where it is installed already. So that means we can combine the source system and centralize all the information in one point. The next, of course, is skip the Excel out of the project in order to have more dynamic information instead of copy and paste. And the second benefit of putting Excel out of it is we are not a static view and not a view only for the customer, because that means we can give the project and the colleagues inside the project two views. One view for the internal view for the Excel file, and the second we are using AOP, Apex Office Print, in order to get the information out of the database and like a look and feel which the customer would like to have. So that means the user can create internal information, and the internal informations are not visible, available on the documents which we present to the customer. And last but not least, the hidden knowledge of the team. Actually, we have centralized all information on one point in the Oracle database. And that means also we can share knowledge, because this knowledge is available for all of the colleagues which are working in the project. And that means also that we need a kind of security. So that means not everyone shall manipulate the information, and not everyone, because we have also customer onto the system, shall see everything. So we have the principle of need to know with it. And therefore you'll see here the possibility that we have a kind of rule mechanism in the background, and each rule defines what kind of functionality the user can see and manipulate for that. Here, I need to share it again, sorry, because we have another small video, because actually we are talking always that we are using Apex as an office application. And here we create a Apex application as a mobile application, where we are using the scanner, the camera, and the GPS location in order to catch the hardware outside in the field. And then we can recognize what kind of hardware is installed, and we can automatically check it against the back office systems like SAP and so on and so on. So start the video. So you see here the asset. Here we are starting the scanner. We scan it with a beep. We have here then automatically the serial number. The serial number doesn't match here against the SAP, so we can insert the name into it. Then the second, we are using the geolocation of the mobile in order to say, okay, where it is installed already. Then we make a picture of it in order to document the installation. And here we can see everything. And last but not least, we can sign it. And every information about geolocation and pictures and also the signature are stored in the database, and everyone can see, okay, it's installed successfully. And now the challenge here is now we have an Apex application or an Apex platform mainly with over 1,000 users, more than 280 projects onto it, and 7 departments. So we are not focusing on only for the mainline, for example, in the rail infrastructure. We have also the rolling stock onto the system. We started already nearly for 5 years in one project, and with only a small interface to SAP, and it's growing and growing. And actually I need to update this slide because it's only a snapshot of the actual time. So now comes the most interesting thing, how we realized all the efforts from the project in an Apex application. It's over here. Hope you can see my screen here, the Apex application.
Yep, you can see it.
Thanks. Here we have the dashboard. All dashboards are unique for every huge project. In mobility, we have a very huge project with Norwegian, for the Norwegian country. So they have its own Apex application for that. And here they can see the KPIs at the glance. I'm now on the QA system, so that I'm not always valid data onto it. But if I'm also go into a milestone, you see here also. So that means that if a project manager goes into it, they see automatically how is the project going, if we are in time, or do we have some delay information. And here is another view with a pie instead of the bar chart and the line. And of course, you can also drill down and look a little bit deeper into the artifacts, means the documents itself. So that is always the question from the project, what kind of information shall be immediately available, so information are without any clicks available, and they don't need to go into deeper one. But we have not only here the KPIs, we have also a KPI region where we have it here with a KPI target performance. I can select also here in release and say go. Here we are using the slider of Apex. So that means you can go on here over the whole time of the project, how it's going. So we have here also accumulated information and the weekly information about the planned, what was actually delivered, and the actual delivered comes into what is the delay, what is in time, and what is earliest delivered. So that means we are using the KPIs in order to adjust our schedule with it. We are talking always about the document management. That's right, because it's a very important point in our projects, because we are creating and delivering security and safety material. Because if something going wrong in the rail infrastructure, there are lives belonging to it. So there we would like to avoid damages on human beings. And here we are putting the Excel file into the grid, into an interactive grid with links into SAP. And here they are seeing immediately, we have here numbers, the customer number. So we can, if we are talking with the customer and they give us a number, we can search for that. Or we are using the internal number of the document if we are talking inside with the colleagues. And of course, we have here everything in place. So means we have here SAP information immediately in place. We have some calculations in place. We have here the submission. So that means we are knowing if the document is submitted to the customer, how they are provided for acceptance, for information, when it was provided, and also the return. That means we give also the customer an overview of their work without any additional work on our side. And this is the main benefit, because customer is using this tool in order to control their work inside their area. And now comes the question how we can download this, because we will not like to download this Excel file, this grid here, this information, and give it to the customer, because then we have only an Excel file without the stars and without a cover page and so on and so on. And here we have then the download pages. That means we are creating in the background with AOP the templates. We have the template and then the data for it. And we can here download each document immediately. So the colleagues in the project can download it, give it to the customer without any copy paste or checking against the source system. And this is a main benefit, because we have then the possibility to have one style for all the Excel files and all the documents, PowerPoints, whatever, giving it to the customer. And this is also then completely independent in what kind of release we are. If we are providing information from a generic point, or if we are providing information from the specific point. And then comes the question how we do it. without going deeper in the database, because we don't want to avoid, or we would like to avoid that the user goes into the database and create all the Apex Office things. And here we have an administration page, like here the templates. So that means we can select an existing template, for example, this one, whatever. We are giving it here the name. The user can upload the Excel template into it. And here we're having the select statement. So here they only need the changing the number. Everything else is available so that the administrator of this Apex application can do it by their own. They can configure the Apex Office print exports by their own. And this is a very huge benefit because they don't need any IT colleague for that. And if we are going into another things, means how can I be sure that I have all correct data in Apex if it comes from the source system? So that means the user has a possibility to look into the transferred information, like the document manager, like the scheduling information, but they have also the possibility to look into the raw data, which we are importing. And this is on this page here. So we have on this page the raw information coming from SAP with all the information, what kind of type is the document, what kind of version, what kind of status it is. And they have also the possibility to link into SAP without going manually in and searching for this SAP number. And they can also say, okay, this document belongs to what kind of release. They can assign it with this here. So then they don't need to insert manually this kind of information to their document management area. And this is very helpful. So we get rid of typos, of the numbers, of description, and so on and so on. But we are talking always about document management systems. We have also configuration management. Means we need an overview what kind of hardware do we install in the field. And here we have a generic asset list. And we are using here from Apex a tree in order to structure all the hardware. If we have a digital I/O, if we have a train detection, an interlocking system, and so on and so on. And I can go directly in and I see here my material with a material number, with some attributes for the version count. And so this is more customized for every project because they are selecting their own attributes here in it. But of course, we have all information in the database. That means also we can make analysis about the data. And here we are catching it if we are changing something else about what was changed in the last time in the generic asset list. And we have also here another view of the structure, not only a tree view, but also, I don't know how you call it, an hierarchy view. And they have also here the possibility to see every material at a glance, and they can switch onto it, and they will immediately see here also the information. So it's another way how we provide and how we can display the information, because this comes from the Excel file, the information comes from SAP too. So it means we are connecting both sources in one area. And if we are going a little bit further in the field management, we have here the warehouses in Norway. Means I know from another system what kind of warehouses we have in Norway. And here we have also the addresses, contact person. And I know immediately what kind of hardware is in the warehouse. The red ones are empty. The green ones have some information or have some material on stock, because if you know, Norway is a very huge country, and you will not only store hardware here in Oslo if you're going into the northern part of Norway. So that means we need to provide the material which we need for the installation, for the track, into each warehouses, so they can pick it up from here. And here we have then the A to V number the description and of course the plan, how many should be in and how many are actually should be in for that. And if we are going in the last discipline or in the major discipline, is project management. Each project manager working more on the agile style. So they are using Microsoft tools like Microsoft Planner. And everyone knows if they are setting up a Microsoft Planner, they set it up, they have weekly stand-ups, and the other time a colleague needs to update and maintain the planner every time with actual information coming from the source system. And this is a nightmare if you have hundreds of cards in the Microsoft Planner, or if you're getting new information onto it. And here we are creating a kind of configuration. It's here. So we are connecting the planner. So they only need to insert the group ID in a Microsoft Planner. We're having here some functionality with getting the bucket, read the plan, or completely delete the plan is also nice. And below it, there is a very powerful configuration possibility. So we are saying, okay, what kind, we are creating a kind of template. What is the master? Is this a Primavera or is this a Microsoft project, scheduler project? What is the name of the planner? And then comes the information or what kind of task for a checklist, because we have here also the checklist. I will display to you later in the kind of planner. But the main thing is here, if I'm getting a new task and this task needs to be created on a planner, in which kind of bucket shall it be first getting it into it? So it means here we can insert the bucket. We have here all the bucket of the planner into it. So that means we can configure it and also configure it dependent on the status of the object in the database. So if the object or if the status is changed, we can say, okay, if it is submitted for acceptance, if it's submitted for information and it's ready to do it, we can automatically put this card from one bucket into another bucket in the Microsoft Planner. So we have a kind of automatization onto the Microsoft Planner. So the colleagues are only have an eye on it. They can discuss the card, but that is not needed to go into the source system in order to find out what is the actual status of it. And I have opened one here. Here are some cards of it. And if I'm going into it, so that means from Apex perspective, we are creating a card. We are creating the titles. We are creating everything here except the information, and we are using the checklist for further information, like here's the Siemens ID, here's the Banenor ID, who is the author, what is the language of it. So every information which normally manually inserted here, it's automatically inserted and updated for this. So it's a very huge Apex application, which with a lot of connectivity into each area of the source system from a project.
Yeah, I have one point here to clarify, Dr. Bertha. So I think the way that you're doing it, so you have one app per project. And so whatever you have shown us, whether it's the data integration with Planner, SAP, the warehouse, the materials, the management, it's all related to one project. And then you give that app access for the people who will be involved in that project. Is that right?
Not nearly.
Okay.
Because if we are, for example, if we are talking about interfaces to SAP, to the Microsoft Word, there's a generic interface. So that means we get only the allowance to the Apex application to do it. And then comes a configuration specific one. Norway is a very huge project. Belgium is a very huge project. But we have also smaller ones, and the smaller ones are combined in one Apex application. It always depends, because the projects we have a project in Austria which ends 2068. So you can imagine what kind of new functionality comes in, because if you have project with such a long time, we are going more into the customer instead of saying, okay, Siemens said we are walking this way, and this we are not doing with this project if it's not doing in 1 year or so on. So that means here the challenge is then, if you only use one Apex application and you have several customers onto it and several wishes from the customer, it's a nightmare to maintain this application. And therefore, we decided huge project getting its own application and smaller projects going into the generic application.
Great. So you can customize it exactly to the needs. Now I have
right.
Sorry, yes, Ashish, go on.
No, go ahead, Sally.
I have a couple of questions actually related to the external systems that you are doing integration with. And one of the questions coming from one of the audience is, how do you do the communication with SAP?
Okay. Actually, we are using, SAP has some job frameworks, and there we are using it. But SAP has also the CDI interface. There we can write and read into it. Normally, we are going back away from SAP HANA. We are using Snowflake, which Ashish had also mentioned in the previous slides. So that means we have one source with all the data. Depends always on the SAP where you have set it on. Someone uses specific interfaces which the company has provided to the IT colleagues. And the other way is round to find out what kind of SAP interfaces comes out of the box with SAP. Because we are on the old one, we are on the R3 version, not on the S4 HANA.
Cool. And how is the warehouse info is updated and synced? Because somebody's asking also.
Yeah, it's also via interface. We are using here the Azure in between, so that we are catching the information out of it completely with REST calls from Microsoft area, getting the JSON file, converting it into the tables, and have it automatically displayed. Because interfaces are, if you create interfaces, you catch the information, put it in one corner of the database, and then transfer it and put the transferred information into production.
Nice.
Got it. So I have a couple of questions, and fundamentally, this is a very sophisticated application that you've built and your team has built. How were you managing, or how was Siemens Mobility managing all of this before you built this application? Like, what were the tools, or
Excellent.
What was the process for it?
Excel and 3 monitors in front of the users.
Excel.
We don't have any chance to do it.
And was it enough to have 3 monitors?
We have a lot of working students, so but it was really a nightmare. I had a look into the Belgium project where we started, and I say, you do it all the day? And the colleague said, yes, I do it all the day. And I say, what a nightmare. So.
Amazing. And then how many, since you built this, like I think you've been building this since 2019, or you built it in 2019, what was the size of your team? How many people did you need to kind of build this? And how many do you need to maintain it going forward?
Actually, we are 3 since the 1st of August. We are a very small team. We have 2 working students which supports us, but the main focus is we are having all the application in one workspace. So if we are, if one department see some kind of solution in another Apex application, we only can copy the page in one application to the other because we are on the same workspace. And this is a benefit. So we don't need to develop it twice for that. And maintaining us means we have some administrator for the users. So the user administration will done by the Apex application, because here they can use the insert name, set up the rule, which I said previously, and then in the background an email sent out with everything. So we are not managing the application. We are only supporting then the team for that.
Wonderful. This is great. So I think somebody's asking, Salim, I'm just going to read it out. What other low-code technology did you consider before Apex? And why did you choose Apex? Somebody's asking that in the Q&A.
This is a tricky question because I'm working since 1996 with Oracle databases and starting with HTMLDB, the previous name of Apex with it. So, but nevertheless, I have also a look into the Microsoft Silverlight long time ago, and it was not sufficient for that. And actually, so far as I know, Microsoft Silverlight is also deprecated. So,
Got it, yeah.
and normally I'm a database developer, and Apex, I can use everything from PLSQL, from SQL. And actually, we are starting using JavaScript for that, as I've shown in the Mobility API, with scanning and getting the geolocations for that. There are only JavaScript in the background. And this makes it much faster using this instead of creating Python scripts.
Nice. Since you are an old user of Apex, I mean,
yeah, sorry.
how do you think the evolvement of Apex through all these years recently? How do you find it?
It was enormously. At the beginning, I was not so happy with Apex, really.
Okay.
I'm coming from the active server pages from Microsoft Word, and I said, okay, how I can do this or how I can do that. And a colleague of mine said, use only a text item and put in the background HTML code into it, and then you have it. For example, a button or a checkbox or so on and so on. But I would say the development of Apex is enormous. Is really good because also the connectivity with JavaScript, this gives us more possibility, and also with dynamic actions. So it's much faster to create an Apex application, but you can get lost in an Apex application if you don't know the business logic behind. You need to go into the Apex application and then into the dynamic application and then into the processes, because one item can trigger another item. For example, if we are saying with a download here we are clicking on it, and in the background we have some hidden items which then trigger the AOP export. So you need to know the business. If you are having a high code, a C++ code or whatever, you can see it directly. And here you need to search how is business logic in behind, because you have not a tree of it, or like a SQL modeler. You see the dependencies of the tables. And this is here not possible. You cannot see the dependency of the objects in Apex. Maybe it's a good idea for new things in Apex.
That's a great feedback. I think that's,
yeah,
absolutely.
A cool question about document management part that you have shown. Are you saving the documents in a blob column inside the database, or it's just an external link?
It's only metadata.
It's metadata.
We're having here only metadata because we are interested in only metadata. But we have another application where we have created a customer portal where we store the documents as a blob inside it. Yes. So we have both. Nice. But on this page, we are only interested to control the documents itself. And we are not interested in the content of the document.
Cool. Fantastic. And Bertha, just one other question out of curiosity. Since you've had this application live, has there been any kind of idea? Do you have an idea in terms of productivity gains or values brought to the company so far, or is that quantifiable for you, or is that something that you're still working towards?
The benefit of the application, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. We have a lot of benefit. I can see it. We have measured it. So from the DM perspective, we have spent now nearly 50% of work with the automatization. And we are looking also, we are measuring from the configuration management point, means the field information, we are nearly to also to 30 to 50%. But depends on your company. So if you have a streamlined process in the background already, then of course you can only count the time of the copy and paste information, for example. If you only change Excel via Apex, depends on it. But we are looking of the whole process. If we are saying from the configuration management, we have a product, we have the design, we have a manufacturing, and we have field installation. So the whole chain of the process are controlled here inside the database. So that means we are spending here also a lot of time to doing it manually.
Makes sense. Thanks. That's great. 50% productivity gains. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That's
Get
amazing.
rid of Excel.
I think you were about to show us also the other parts of the app, maybe the scheduling part. Was it, or?
Yeah, it was only also a configuration or a connectivity between the scheduling and the document itself in my Microsoft project. So it's always the main goal here in the application is to reduce the items of Apex, because every new item means you need to train the colleague. So therefore, my main focus is using the interactive grid, because it's like Excel. If we are using KPIs, they know, okay, the bar chart and the pie charts. But we have also another application where we get back to like a formula. So we have a form and the grid in both sides, but depends really on the use cases of the user or of the process. But my experience is if you reduce the set of possibilities of the items to a user, means less they don't have a higher learn curve for it. If they are using the document management page, they know how they can filter it or they can arrange it. And if we are going into config management area for this, I have here also the same. So that means the look and feel and the
they don't basically have to
need to know
to be trained again. Yes,
it's the same.
Yeah, we get it. It's nice.
Therefore, Apex has a lot of possibilities to display information. Yes, of course, but depends on the user. What kind of function do you use on your page?
Nice.
Fantastic.
Great. I love it. Is there any other parts of the app that you would like to show us before we close the session?
Actually, not. We have such a kind of Excel importer. I know. So that means here they can drop an Excel in, and it will be in the database extract, because it's only a zip file of Excel into it. And we have then, do we have something here? Yes, we have. So that means here's the Excel file. And then if you have said the correct Excel file, they can say, okay, it's a specific Excel file, they can import it directly. So that means the user can import the files, and they can also assign the new Excel files directly into production. It's another nice application, because I like here this drop field from Daniel. Daniel is now at Oracle site too. So we are also working with community plugins.
Oh, great. That's fantastic.
Cool. So what do you have for future, Dr. Bertha, when it comes to Apex development? What are you planning?
A lot of things. Actually, we are also planning to integrate a third application completely in Apex, because they have some HTML widgets. So that means we are not only Apex anymore, but a little bit more. So we are using the Apex application now for the completely information source system. So we have is nearly like, no, that's the customer service. Here we have another Apex application. We can jump, they jumped automatically into it. We can combine it. But the next step is to put in the third-party application directly in this page so that they can see it as an Apex part of it.
Nice. Wish you all the best.
Oh, many thanks.
At the end, I would like to thank you very much for giving us this opportunity and being our guest in another Business Innovations webcast series. And I would like to thank everybody who attended today. Stay tuned. We're going to have more of these sessions in the future, almost monthly. So thank you again and hope to see you again. Thank you, Dr. Bertha. Thank you, Ashish. And see you guys.
Thank you.
If we don't have any questions.
Thanks, Dr. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.